Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to basically teach you guys the basics of coding. So, this isn't really coding, honestly. This is just I wanted to create a video teaching you guys HTML because I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, yeah, coding would be cool, but I don't want to learn it. And yeah, I mean, it sounds scary because from the sounds of it, it sounds like math and like logical thinking and stuff. But this right here is purely design. It's There's nothing having to do with like logical thinking or anything. So I just wanted to get you guys started on HTML and CSS. So to start, you guys should go to trinket.io and create an HTML trinket. So basically, this is you guys will just be coding here, and your output will be right here. And this is a project-based tutorial. So to start, we are going to do type HTML. So what is this? What does this mean? This is always going to be at the top of your HTML file. But what does this mean? So these things on the end um, make this tag. So tags are basically the fundamental part of HTML, and we'll get more into that in a second. But so basically, what this tag is saying, we are saying that this document is an HTML document. It's not that important, but so like sometimes you need this at the top, sometimes you don't need it. Kind of depends. Um, but I just wanted to teach it so that you guys could at least know to have it in there if you guys actually need it. So next, we're going to create a new tag, HTML. So all your HTML is going to go inside your HTML tag. That's simple. So um, if you guys notice, there's this right here. What does this mean? So this is a closing tag. If there's a backslash, I think that's a backslash, yeah, um, in front of the tag name, then that means this is the closing tag. So this is where the HTML begins. This is where it ends, basically. So next, we want to create a head. What is a head? I do not know. Not really. All I know is that inside of a head is basically, um, I guess what it really is like setting up the rest of your program, basically. So in here, we could create a title. What's a title? Title changes the name of the web application up here on top. So we're going to name it uh, my site. So since this is all running inside of a trinket, that means it's not going to change up here. It's just normally it would change um, when you create a website, but um, for now it's not changing anything just because this is being built in trinket. So next, we will create a style tag. What's a style tag? We'll get to that later. Um, for now, I'll just say it's basically where you write in um, all the styles for your website, basically all the little designs. But after the head tag, we want to create a body tag. So this is actually your um, website. This is where you edit everything on your website. So this is not generally used, or I haven't seen this used a lot, but main. So using main, we're basically saying this is a main part um, of our document. Basically, this is where the main stuff happens, where everything will be drawn. But I'm going to take that out because we don't need it. We don't necessarily need it. Um, I haven't seen it actually be used, and in no tutorial have I ever been told to use it. I've never used it in any of my projects, so I'm just not going to use it this time. So, the first big main tag that we're going to learn about is a div tag. What's a div? A div is basically a section of your website. So this right here could be a div. It's separating the. This is a section of the whole website. Like right here, these two buttons are this section. There's most likely a div for this whole section right here. Um, there's a div right here for, oh, these are the little, this section is where we display these images basically. This nav bar is a div. Um, it's basically just a section. It's a divider. Um, divs are used a lot, but anyway, create an H1 tag. What's an H1 tag? Header. Header 1. There's 6 headers, I believe. But so for this header 1, we're going to name it my site. So I just wanted to mention this is different from up here. This changes the name up here. This adds something to the website. The reason it's bolded and big font is because it's a header tag. So what if let's create an H3 tag now. Let's name this article. So we're gonna have like little articles, like a different blog posts basically. So there you can see this font is smaller because it's a header 3. So now next, let's create a paragraph tag. This of course is for paragraphs. Um, so let's do hello. Sorry, hello world. And there we go. As you can see, this one isn't bolded. It's an even smaller font. And that's a basic website right there. But of course, there's more things that we could learn. But this is the main basic stuff, including the div actually. This all right here is the main basic stuff. Actually, all of this is main basic stuff. This is just a basic setup for a website. So, yeah. Oh, actually, so we should have a div up here. This should be the header. My site. So that's the header, the main top piece. So basically, this is separate from down here. And basically, the way that these tags work, each element is its own box. So this div up here is probably this whole area, like from here to back here. And then the H1 tag is only this right here. Actually, a perfect way of displaying this is right here. So if we look, this is a div right here. Inside the div, we have an H3 tag. We have a paragraph tag. There's another div up. I can't select it, but it's basically a div for the H1 for the header. But yeah, that's basically how you could see it. And as you can see here, yeah, that's a div right there. We got this whole section right here is a div. This, I was wrong. That was not a div. But yeah, it's, div with the class name spacer. We're going to get to class names soon. But yeah, there's different divs all over the website, basically. Okay, so next up, after the second div, we want to create another one. And here we're going to have an H3 tag again and name it article 2. And this time, instead of creating a paragraph tag, I want to teach you guys about unordered lists. So unordered lists are just lists with bullet points. Um, so we need a list item, say HTML. The first list item. Second list item, code. I just kind of picked random words for this. Final list item we're gonna have is web dev. And if we wanted it to be numbered, we could create an ordered list instead. There you go. But I think I'm going to keep it as an unordered list. So, yep, now you guys know about unordered lists, um, as well as headers and paragraph tags, and of course divs. Um, so next, let's create another div. This one is going to have a header with the name article 3. And in this article, we want to have a table. Wait, sorry. No, not yet. Let's do image. We could add images in here. And for this image, let's search up, okay, HTML, right? HTML logo. And we want this one right here, right? We want to have this in our website. So let's copy the image address. And so what we want to have here is our source. What's our source for our image? It's that link. So now you can see it show up right there. I forgot to mention this right here is I think an attribute of the element image. So we're setting source equal to this. Now why oh there we go. So this is in quotation marks because um well, to specify it's different from the rest of it. I don't know how to explain quotation marks in HTML very well, but we'll get to it once we learn Python, I think in the next video. And this is the URL to that image, basically. But it's the address to the image, not the address to the website. So next up, we could also add some alternative text, or that's what I understand it as. Basically, it's when you hover over the. I think it's when you hover over this. It has like some text that it says. I don't know. It sometimes does that. I think it would work better in a real website. But next up, we could also change the width, and we could do this with any element. It doesn't have to be just with images. So let's change the width to 100 and the height to 100 as well. So this already automatically became a square. It all came down to be 100 pixels, but I think that's how it happens if you only fill in one attribute, either width or height. And if you fill in the second one, then it changes differently. For example, if we did 200, then there we have it worked. Yeah. There's more things that you could add to an image tag, even to all these other tags. But that's all I'm going to be teaching for now for the image tags. Um, Next, we could add an anchor. I believe that's what it's called. So if we have an attribute href, I don't know what it actually stands for, but we could add a link to somewhere. So let's say HTML. Let's go to the Wikipedia page, copy that, and paste it in there. Now, this is just a link where we wanted to send us to, but in between the two A tags, we could say something. So let's say HTML. And if we click it, it'll redirect us here. Now, this is weird how Trinket does this. So if you click auto run again, it'll set it back to this. But so there it is. That's the anchor um, tag. So let's create another div. This time it's article 4. And this time I want to teach you guys about buttons. So as you can see, we already created the button, but what do we want it to say inside? So let's say, there we go, right? Now when we click it, nothing happens. How do we add functionality to the button? This is basically where JavaScript comes in. So at the end of your body tag, actually I've seen it at the head tag. Sometimes I've seen it at the end of the body tag, where you could have a script tag. So what's a script tag? The script tag is basically where you write JavaScript. Now, I don't want to go through JavaScript yet, or I don't think I'm actually going to do a tutorial on it at all. But basically, you could create a function with the keyword function. You name your function and add parentheses at the end, these curly braces, and in here, what do you want the function to do? So we could do alert, um, you learned HTML. So now we could add an attribute on click. So on click, what do we want to happen? We want that function to be ran. So to summarize this, all that will happen is it's going to alert this. You don't actually have to understand JavaScript for this part alone, but I do recommend if you want to add a lot more functionality with your buttons, then you should probably learn JavaScript. So there we go. When we click that button, it says you learn HTML. That's what an alert box is. You can even do something. So, for example, and this is just an example for showing that you could do JavaScript within HTML. So we could have a variable set to 0, and now when it's clicked, we could have the number increment up by 1 and have it say you click this button. Hold up. Let's do like that. So backticks, I think they're called. Um, so you click this button, num click time. So right here now, you click the button one time. Well, oh, we're setting it to 0. Okay. So what we could do, we have a variable, um, num click set to 0 when the website is first loaded, and then we could have all this happen when we click. Number is incremented, and then we're alerting how many times we've clicked the button. Now that's just showing some functionality with JavaScript. If you don't understand JavaScript, then ignore what I just did. Um, but that's just to show what the on-click um, attribute could do in not only a button, but with, I believe on other tags, it works too. So finally, we're going to do our final div, h3, article 5. So for this, really pointless, but I wanted to teach you guys about tables. I've only ever used them once. So it's a table tag, and inside the table tag, you have a table row tag. And then inside of that, you have table headers. So um, one, let's just copy that. So head 1, 2, and 3. So those are the headers. And this is a table that's being built with those headers. So next, let's do another table row. And now table description. I don't know what the D stands for, but this is an actual element of the table. Let's say hello. Um, let's say world. And then just for this last one, let's do hi. Or, yeah, hi. So you can see it all gets filled in the table right there. So now let's do one last table row just to finish this off. Um, say I, then learned HTML. Now, obviously, this isn't actually how you would use a table, but I'm just showing you that there's a table inside of HTML that you could use. So finally, the last thing we're going to do is add a footer. And this is just what goes at the bottom of your website. So right here, I'm going to put my socials equal to, oh no, like that. And then, so there it is. Those aren't actually, well, just do that. There we go. So yeah, now this is at the bottom of the page. Now, the problem with this is this looks very, very ugly, right? So how could we fix that? Well, to start, I will say, okay, do you guys remember the style tag? In here, we could add in CSS. So what is CSS? Basically, with CSS, you could style stuff. So to start, let's do, okay. So the title, we want it center aligned, right? So let's go to my site. We could add in what's known as a class. So class is just sort of a way to identify different tags more individually because an H3 tag is they're all H3 tags, but we could have a class with a certain name so that we could differentiate it from the other tags, from the other H3 tags. So let's name it title. No, or yeah, title. So how do we select this? So what we could do, we could select all H1 tags, or we could do dot title. What does the dot stand for? That means that it's the class of title. So now if we do curly braces, we could add in different attributes right here. Now I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm actually not going to go through a lot, but one I will talk about is align. And we could align it to the center, and there we go, center aligned. So what else could you do with this? So we could target all body tags. So every single body tag is going to now have these attributes that I'm putting in here. So what attributes do we want? We want background color. That's something we could do. Oh, sorry. Did I do something wrong? No. Background color. So we could set the background color. Now we could do there's certain keywords like okay, we could have a background be the color black, or we could put in a hex code. I'm going to do 10, 10, 10. So not completely black, but not very light either. So now you can't see anything, right? So we want to change the color of the text. So we are going to do color white. Color will target the color of the text. And so there we go. Now this still isn't really nice looking, and I'm not going to make it all that nice looking, but we're going to also change the font family. So we are going to change it to Verdana, just to add some differences to this, We could also change text size, but I'm not going to go through that. We could select all paragraph tags. So all of these paragraph tags. Um, oh, we only have one paragraph tag. But so let's say for the paragraph tags, we want there to be padding on the left, right? So like that, this isn't just straight up against the side of the page. We want it to, be indented a little so that article one, so you could tell the difference between the header and the paragraph tag. So let's say distance it by 20 pixels. Sorry, did I do? Oh, sorry. You have to specify pixels. And there we go. So I'm almost done. I just want to go through one last thing. So this footer is really, really ugly. It's right up next to everything else. So I'm going to say footer. We want to target the footer and change padding from the top to be, say, 50 pixels. Like that, we could really differentiate that a um, this is a footer. I think we could also do border. Sorry. Wait, let's do border color white, and then that will give. Well, it's supposed to give a border color too. Um, actually, was I didn't plan that to do that one, but there's those are just some bare basics on how to do HTML and CSS. So, as a backend developer, do you need to know that much HTML and CSS? The answer is no, not really. Honestly, this is like the basic stuff that I know. Everything else, I literally have to Google it, and it's not a problem because when I just Google, how do I change the background color? Oh, it's background color. Okay, there we go. And I just add that into my CSS. It's not too difficult to do, but if you do want to become a front end developer, you should probably learn a little bit more. And I would recommend W3 Schools. That's a really good website to learn all this stuff because it has easy references to like different tags and different CSS styling techniques, basically. And of course, you could probably learn JavaScript if you want to add more of this sort of functionality. Um, but yeah, that's all for this video. Next time, I believe I am going to start delving into the basics of Python. But for now, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.